While living in this nature, the process of knowing that we have is not possible without means. By means, I mean that until we have the tools or instruments to know, we will not be able to know. Maharishi Kapil has explained these things in his Sankhya philosophy in a very poignant and highly scientific manner, which we can call subtle science. And he has explained it with great depth and seriousness. This must be understood. To gain knowledge, he has explained that we have 5 senses of perception. The 5 senses of perception are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. That is, we use our eyes to see, ears to hear, nose to smell, tongue to taste, and skin to touch and perceive the nature of substances. He referred to these 5 senses of perception as karan, tools. Now, in the same way, there are 5 more karan, which he called Karmendriya. These include hands, feet, mouth, anus, and genitals. Like touching and holding something with hands, walking with feet, speaking with the mouth, excreting waste through the anus, and urinating through the genitals. These 5 functions were termed Karmendriya, organs of action, and those involved in acquiring knowledge were called Gyanendriya, organs of perception. Thus, the 10 means are called Bahyakaran, external tools, meaning that whatever information comes from outside, these external tools convey it to us. Now, he stated that there are 4 internal instruments, Antahkaran. Antahkaran means those that are inward-facing, the center. These are peripheries, they are subtle, while the others are gross. We can understand this distinction in this way. Now, which are the 4, Antahkaran? Chitta, consciousness, Buddhi, intellect, manas, mind, and Ahamkara, ego. These 4 tools exist within us. 10 are external, and 4 are internal. These 14 tools are the means by which we acquire knowledge while living in this nature. For our convenience, for our system, and for greater experience, we constantly use these 14 tools. When it comes to Antahkaran, Chitta is such a tool where the first glimpse of nature appears, and like a gateway, it allows those glimpses and incoming rays to reach within. Where does it go inside? 2. Buddhi. And Buddhi analyzes it after analysis. Manas determines how to use it, and the essence of all 3, Chitta, Buddhi, and manas, gets collected in Ahamkara, which is also called I, self. So, we understand that when we look at the process in reaction in Antahkaran, as soon as everything is gathered in Ahamkara, and it forms I, then everything we have known is contained within that I. This I is formed, it is not pre-existing. The collection of all these becomes the I. This is how the entire process functions through our tools. Now, this world, this nature, the way we see it, and the way our tools interact with it, determines the kind of knowledge we gain. That is why knowledge varies. One's way of seeing may be different, hearing may be different, and thinking may also differ. These tools and means collectively provide us with knowledge. It is a very mysterious matter. This is the system of nature. And the science that is advancing and exploring in materialism can be called gross science. What we have discussed so far is subtle science. That is, the first is subtle, and the second is gross science. The process and reaction that occur within these 14 tools enable us to progress in the external world of materialism and gain knowledge, otherwise, it is difficult. Now, what did Patanjali do with this? Listen carefully. Patanjali took these very aspects and started experimenting with them. For example, an idea entered Chitta and moved within. Buddhi analyzed it. Manas began to use it, and ultimately, where was all of this collected? In Ahamkara, or the sense of I, These tendencies, Vrittis, got stored in Ahamkara as motion. Thus, in his Yoga Darshan, Patanjali experimented to understand how these tendencies work, how far they operate, and if they increase excessively, how they disturb us. Now, look at what happens. After all this, the collection stored in our manas, ego, remains. That entire collection, everything we have gathered through the senses and organs of action, gets stored in our mind. To view this repeatedly, we may need it again and again. To establish coordination, to determine whether it is good or bad, favorable or unfavorable, this collection remains stored there. It is a complete repository. This repository has been termed Vritti by Vedanta. And according to these tendencies, Vrittis, our life continues to move forward. The desire to view these tendencies arises from there itself. And desire is always born out of experience. To learn more on this topic of knowledge, stay with us. To watch this video in Hindi, click on the link provided in the description.